So this is a personality competition, but you let the girl who kissed you win? Okay, because kissing really shows off her personality. Okay, Joey. Hi everyone, my name's Demetri and welcome back to DemetriTube. The Bachelor, Night 3. Let's talk about it. As always, if you're enjoying my videos, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. I'm a growing YouTuber and the likes and subscribes really help me out. Okay, so just a couple things before we get started. First, I apologize for the delay of this video. On Wednesday, I was a little hungover. So Tuesday night, I went to go see Tinashe in concert and I had an absolute ball. More than likely, she's going to a city near you. So if you're interested, definitely check that out. And if you've never listened to her music, go listen. She's like easily in my top 10 favorite artists of all time. And I was out late. Like I did not get home until like 1:30 in the morning. And this was a Tuesday. And sidebar, let me know if anyone else feels this way in the comments, but like I always have 10 times more fun going out on like a Thursday or a Sunday, sometimes other weekdays, than I do going out on like a Friday or Saturday. Anyways, if you haven't heard of Tinashe, go look her up. Her music is amazing. Next, Love is Blind season 6 starts on Wednesday and I want to review it, but at the moment I'm like, where am I going to find the time? Like, I don't understand why they always air this show at the exact same time as Bachelor. I'm definitely going to watch. More than likely I'll review, but if I do, those videos are probably going to be late too. Okay, that's all I got. Let's dive into the episode. Okay, so just two really quick things I want to mention from the intro. First, Kelsey A looks so different with her hair pulled back. Next, Edwina's eyebrows. I don't know how many times we have to go over this. They're supposed to be cousins, not twins. Now we're moving on to the first group date, and for the first group date, they do the Mrs. Right pageant, and this consists of a Best Sunday Chill Loungewear portion, a questions portion, and a talent portion. Okay, so just a few things I want to say about this. First, either I'm getting old or I'm just a hater, because the contestants were standing on stage and we got a really good shot of them. And if you're wondering what Gen Z fashion looks like, this is the epitome of Gen Z fashion and I hate it. Gen Z fashion looks very late 90s to me, but with a few updates and baggier pants. And I just don't like it. And for the most part, a lot of the women this season dress very similar. I know Evelyn very much stands out and Maria stands out as well. Actually, Natanya in my comments said Maria is giving sexy Latina auntie tease. and low-key, that is what Maria is giving. But long story short, I guess personally, I'm just not a huge fan of Gen Z fashion. Also, the women are dressing very similar and I just don't see a lot of risks being taken in terms of fashion. So that's probably more so it. Next, this date was so terrible, but it's weird because this date is very similar to the Barbie date from Charity season that I absolutely loved and thought was one of the best dates on the show. And here are the reasons why I hated this date. First, the winner, Lexi, she won because she stuck her tongue down one of the judges' throats. That should have been considered cheating. An attempt to sleep with one of the judges really should not have earned you a win. ABC really needs to start doing better. And yes, I get it. Production probably encouraged her so it can start drama amongst the other women. I get that, but this really should not have earned her the win. Next, if we're gonna do a pageant, we need to have some over-the-top outfits. Last season with Charity and the Barbie date, they gave them some over-the-top Ken costumes and I absolutely loved it. But now on this pageant with Joey, we're just in some chill loungewear. Like, the are we doing? And then during the questions portion, the questions were dumb and most of them were just insinuating sex. You weren't really learning more about any of the contestants. And then the talent portion in general, to tell a group of people, oh, think of a talent and you got to perform it in an hour and a half. Like, that's kind of a big ask. Whereas on the Barbie date, they had music and they were just like, write a short song. Like, to me, if you're gonna do something like this, it's better to give the group a little more direction, because honestly, most people can't think of a talent on the spot and then be able to do that talent in front of an audience within 90 minutes. Like, if I was in the same situation as these women, I truly don't know what I would have done as a talent. And then what made it even worse about Lexi's win is Joey multiple times throughout this competition said this competition is about personality. Show your personality. So this is a personality competition, but you let the girl who kissed you win? Okay, because kissing really shows off her personality. Okay, Joey. Next, if you made it this far in the video, please go ahead and pound that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And last thing I want to say about this group date, for Edwina's talent portion, she sang a song and she sounded an absolute mess. But immediately after, we got Joey in the confessional like, oh my God, she sounded so good, da 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 da. And I was like, no, she didn't. Next, we move on to the night portion. And just a heads up, I'm going to save the Madina, Maria, and Sydney drama towards the end. And there's not a lot to say about this night portion other than the drama, like not really much happened. But I will say, I really liked Madina's hair and outfit. It just looked really fun. And Kelsey A's jacket was really cute. Love a leather jacket. Next thing I want to say is the night portion of this date was really weird. So we're getting to this point in the show where the contestants are very much starting to catch on regarding the edit. Like, the contestants are very careful about what they do and say because they do not want to receive a bad edit. And it was very evident in this moment because for the most part, everyone wanted to slut shame Lexi because she kissed Joey and won the competition. And the other contestants are very much tiptoeing around what they want to say. Like, for example, Edwina says, if that was talent, someone else deserved the crown. Like, they're not specifically slut shaming Lexi, but they're heavily implying it and they don't specifically want to throw her under the bus. So let me know below in the comments how you personally would have handled this situation. So for me, I think I would have been a little fake. I would have waited until Lexi left the room and then I would have told all the other women, wow, she really won by sticking her tongue down one of the judges' throats. And I would have just kept it at that and seen what the responses were. And y'all know I don't like when people talk about others behind their backs, but if you had told Lexi that directly, you possibly could have had another Sydney situation on your hands where you were bullying her by saying something like that. But then if you say that comment within the whole group, it's gonna get back to Lexi and then she's gonna wanna address you one-on-one. And if she were to come back to me and address it one-on-one, I would just go ahead and tell her what I said. And sorry, y'all, I'm starting to go down this like theoretical rabbit hole, but let me know in the comments how y'all would have handled this situation. Next, Joey has a really quick one-on-one with Lexi and he says, you won because you stepped out of your comfort zone. And I thought that was very much a lie. Lexi won because he likes her. And last thing I want to mention, so we get a one-on-one with Kelsey A. And the conversation with Kelsey A just felt very friendly to me. Like I was not seeing a lot of chemistry. And this very much sucks because she was in my top 4 prediction. Oh, and sorry, almost forgot. We also get another one-on-one with Maria and her shoes were really cute. And Maria basically questions Joey and says it was a kissing contest and she was out of her element. And then Joey claps back and says there were levels to it. No, there wasn't. We watched the contest. And again, this is just more reason to love Maria because Maria questions Joey and she questions what's going on and questions the process, where like a lot of the other contestants, I guess they just go along with whatever Joey says or whatever's happening in the moment. Now we're moving on to the one-on-one with Jenn. For the date, we have a beach surf day.
Surfboard.
So just a few things I want to mention about this date. First, Joey's shirt is like ugly cute. Like it's kind of ugly, but something about it is kind of cute. And at one point, Joey and Jenn are doing a toast and Jenn says, if you don't look one another in the eyes, it's 7 years of bad sex. And I'm pretty sure she made that up. Has anyone heard of that? Let me know below in the comments if you've heard of that before. After that, we move on to the night portion and Jenn puts on a very pretty red dress. The dress is simple, but it's effective. So I like it. And during the night portion, she puts a lot of her tea out there and she says she thought she wouldn't be loved because of the way she was raised. Her parents argued a lot and she had to take care of herself and says it was traumatic. And this made her feel like she was doomed for failure in her future relationships. And she also mentioned that she never felt truly loved by her dad and he's no longer a part of her life. Okay, so just a few things I want to talk about this one-on-one date. First, Jenn is a perfect candidate for Paradise. And overall, this date was very short. Their whole one-on-one was maybe 8 minutes, possibly less than that. So that makes me think that Jenn is not going to make top 4. And in terms of Joey and Jenn, looks-wise, I think they're possibly the cutest couple this season. Like, out of all the contestants, just solely based on looks, Jenn and Joey look the best together. But when it comes to their connection, overall, I'm just not really seeing it. And this sucks because this was possibly one of the most romantic dates I've seen on the show in a while. When the sun was setting and they were making out in the wetsuits on the beach, like, that was like so hot and so romantic. And yet when it comes to their connection, like, I just don't think they have a huge connection. And if Jenn does not end up with Joey at the end of this, I'm pretty sure she will be okay. I feel like after this show ends, she will be very well liked in Bachelor Nation if Joey does not end up choosing her. Now we're moving on to the second group date, and yet again, another horrible group date on this episode. So for the date, it's a tennis date. Nobody's played tennis before, and then Jesse Palmer arrives and turns it into a competition between the women. They put on these ridiculous costumes, and all of the women play doubles against each other to win. Just a heads up, I understand Joey loves tennis, and tennis is a big part of his life, but tennis as a date is a good date if it's one-on-one, but as a group with 8 people, it's not a very good date. Because if you've never played tennis before, the courts are very big. So more than likely, Joey is going to be serving on one side, and then you have the other person on the other side, and you're not going to get a lot of one-on-one time. And then tennis takes a lot of technique, which none of these women have played tennis before, and they're not going to learn it in a few hours. And then also, you could tell that this tennis competition they had was very boring. Like, if they didn't have these silly costumes on, it would have been super boring to watch, because the games are not interesting if one person serves and the other person can't even get the ball. I'm probably not explaining this as best as I can, but if you've ever watched tennis, like, it's not a very interesting sport to watch. So imagine you're watching tennis, and then on top of that, the players are terrible too. Like, that would probably make it worse. Next, I hate that the women had to put on these ridiculous costumes. So I get it. You cannot put the women in like sexy costumes, like lingerie, how they did on Peter's season. You can't do that anymore because it would be demeaning to women. But this was very much a missed opportunity because tennis uniforms are really cute. And that would have given the women an opportunity to look really cute for Joey. But instead, we got them looking stupid, dressed like bees, babies, and lobsters. So Evelyn and Kelsey T end up winning the competition, which was great. We love seeing Black excellence during Black History Month. We move on to the night portion, and the camera pans to this blonde woman. And I'm like, who is this contestant? And then I remember, oh, it's Autumn. I don't know why I've been struggling to remember who she is. So the first one-on-one we get is with Caitlyn, and Caitlyn tells Joey that all of the women in her family are single, and they want her to be the first one to break the curse. Yeah, that's a red flag for me. So let me know below in the comments what y'all thought of this, but I very much thought of that as a red flag. So if I was Joey, I would think of this as a red flag because if someone were to say this, I would think men are probably not appreciated in her family. A similar thing happened on Katie Thurston's season with her aunt. I don't know if y'all remember, but her aunt was very rude to like Blake. And in my head, it's a possible signal that men just are not appreciated in that family. Or the other possibility is just that sometimes with women, y'all can be your own worst enemies. So this is definitely not all women, but there are just some women that are very miserable and they want their friends to be just as miserable with them. So they'll kind of be the catalyst for a downfall in the relationships that their friends have. And that could be the other possible red flag. And then after that, we get a one-on-one with Rachel. And this was interesting because it was a complete contrast to his one-on-one with Caitlyn, because Rachel tells Joey that a lot of his qualities remind her of her dad. And when Rachel said that, that is very much a good sign. And I love that she said that. I thought it was very cute, but also it was such a huge contrast to the conversation Joey just had with Caitlyn. Next, we have a one-on-one with Daisy, and she talks about her cochlear implant. Groundbreaking. And then after that, Caitlyn ends up winning the group date rose, and I was very much shocked she got the rose. But whatever. Okay, now let's move on to the Madina, Maria, and Sydney drama. Okay, so during the night portion of the first group date, Madina has a one-on-one with Joey, and I'm tired of Madina. She can go, and I hope she gets eliminated ASAP. So she tells Joey that someone else in the house made a comment about her saying she's not even that old, and for her, it felt invalidating. But Madina does not share the name of the girl in the house who said this to Joey. Now, we all know when this happens, this creates a wild goose chase for Joey. Joey has to track down who said it. He has to talk to a ton of people. He has to talk to production. It would have just been better for Madina just to say the name, but here we go. Now, Madina is the oldest one in the house, but at this point, she seems the most immature. So us as an audience, we all see that Sydney embellished the story and she fabricated some details. But Madina and Sydney are apparently friends. So Madina just openly trusts everything that Sydney is saying. I don't know why, but she does. And this tells me that Madina needs to learn how to pick better friends. And Madina also says this is bullying. And I'm just like, girl, if someone makes an offhand comment, that's bullying. That is a very loose definition of bullying. And when people say stuff like that, it just comes off as very snowflake to me. Like I said this in a previous review, a lot of the contestants this season just seem very emotional, and Madina is possibly very emotional. So then later on, we go back to the Bachelor mansion, and Maria pulls Madina for a one-on-one, and Madina tells Maria,
I didn't refer to you as a bully, but I felt bullied.
Girl, Madina, that is so fucking stupid. When it comes to bullying, you have a victim and you have a bully. The bully bullies the victim. Two parties are required in all of this. So for Madina to just casually say, oh, I felt bullied, but say there was no other party involved sounds stupid. So after that, Madina's friend Sydney basically co-signs with her and says, I felt bullied too. And it's very clear that Sydney is colluding with production, I'm pretty sure, so she can get a slot in Paradise. And I'm pretty sure it will work out for her. And sidebar, I really like Sydney's haircut and the way she styled her hair during that night portion of the date. And while they were in the house, Maria was very much trying to make amends with Madina. And this is where I will say Maria was going wrong. It felt like Maria was just trying way too hard to get Madina and Sydney to like her. And I didn't think she needed to do all that. If anything, she should have started a smear campaign in the house to get the whole house against Madina and Sydney. After that, y'all may have not caught this, but Leia has a one-on-one with Sydney. And y'all, I am just so done with Leia. First, she burned her date card, and now she's fraternizing with the enemy. She is like kikiing with Sydney, and I don't know if she necessarily agreed with her, but to me, it almost seemed like she's gassing up Sydney a little. And like I said on my first review, Leia is not here for the right reasons. And a lot of people were against me when I said this, but it's very clear she's not here for the right reasons. After that, instead of a cocktail party, we get a pool party, and it's sponsored by KFC. And ABC is just so unserious for this. Bikinis after eating some fried chicken? Like, bruh, be serious. The women probably took 2 bites for the cameras and then spit it back out. Like, let's be real, all these women want to look good in their bikinis. They're on national television. They're not gonna risk looking bloated over some KFC fried chicken. Also, I'm way more of a Popeyes guy. Like, I don't think KFC is very good, but I will say KFC does have some popcorn chicken, which is fantastic on the go if you gotta eat and drive. So then after that, we get a one-on-one with Sydney and Joey. Sydney lies to Joey's face and says that Maria is the bully, and then she embellishes and lies about what truly happens. And Joey kind of just goes along with it. And personally, I was expecting better from him. Joey seems to be one of the smarter bachelors we've had in a while. So for him just to go along with it was pretty wild. Cause like, think about it. If Maria was bullying and being this mean, why wouldn't Madina just come to Joey herself? Like, why would Sydney have to do it on her behalf? And then Maria also goes to Joey and she pleads her case. And there's 2 things I want to mention about this. At one point, Joey tells Maria, maybe I should have asked Sydney more questions. So yes, that part was funny, but also like, I was just expecting more from Joey. Like, duh, Joey, you should have asked Sydney more questions. And at one point, Maria tells Joey, I didn't think I'd be received like this in the house. So I thought it was very interesting that Maria said this because from what I've seen so far, I think Maria may be a little annoying. She's not really everyone's cup of tea. I think she like talks a lot and some of the women in the house do actually find her annoying. But I cannot specifically tell if it's Sydney that's making Maria feel this way or if there's just a lot of women in the house that do not rock with Maria that's making her feel this way. And don't get me wrong, I am very much team Maria, but on previous episodes, a couple contestants mentioned that she talks a lot. And just from what we've seen of her, Maria is very, yes, girl, own your age. Yes, girl, you are beautiful, work it, own it, etc., etc. And I could totally see how people would find that annoying. And overall, this drama is very silly, but it's going to be the setup for a 2-on-1 and one of these women will be getting eliminated. And one last thing I want to mention about this whole situation is I want to talk about the other women in the house in this situation. So this is just very much the internet age that we're in. Actually, this has always been like kind of a thing. So I'm pretty sure most of the women in the house know that Sydney is dead wrong, but nobody is standing up against Sydney or standing up for Maria. Edwina is kind of trying to squash it and she's at least trying to say something, but she seems to be the only one. And this is why the internet is just so annoying. So when this episode dropped, there were so many people making comments about Sydney was wrong, she's a bully, yada, yada, yada. But look, when people are actually in the moment, they're not doing anything. Other than Edwina, nobody was standing against Sydney. Like they were just kind of letting the behavior rock. And this is very much the bystander effect. People are very much waiting for somebody else to do something, like they don't want to get involved. They're hoping somebody else does something. And like, that's totally fine. I get it. You don't want to be involved. But when we go to the Women Tell All, I better not see all these women take a stance against Sydney because they all had a chance to take a stance here at this pool party and they didn't. And last thing I want to say about this, why did Sydney get on live or like Instagram stories and then give us a masterclass on what gaslighting is? The irony. And then we move on to the rose ceremony. Yep, it's that time, outfit of the episode. For this week's outfit of the episode, I'm giving it to Leia for her white rose ceremony gown. Leia's white dress was really pretty. It was a little different. It was also a little bit prom to me, but I still liked it and I think it deserved outfit of the episode. And like I told y'all before, the outfits really aren't hitting too hard this season. And honorable mention to Allie's dress. We didn't get a chance to see the whole thing, but I think if I did, I would have given that one out for the episode. From what I saw, it looked really cute, but we didn't get a chance to see the whole thing. And also, let's talk about Joey's suit. I really loved this suit on Joey. It looked a little grandpa and it had that like little bit of vintage suit look, but I thought this looked really good on him. This was a great choice from styling. And when it comes to the rose ceremony, Star, Evelyn, and Krissa got eliminated. None of these were really big upsets. I was slightly upset Star got eliminated because I thought her and Joey had a little bit of a connection and I wanted to see more, but whatever. And that is the end of the review and the end of the episode. If you enjoyed this review, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one. Bye.